Good morning, guys. All right, we are going to start off by reading a nonfiction book that is going to be paired with our story from yesterday. So, our story from yesterday was If Your Monster Won't Go to Bed, and it was about a monster and trying to get him to bed. So, today we're going to look at some real life creatures or animals that a lot of people think are kind of like monsters and are scary, but they really aren't. And so, the title of our book is called Can I Look? And if we turn to the first page, we see that table of contents. And remember, our table of contents is a nonfiction text feature, which means something in the book that helps us find information. So, for example, if I read through the book and I forgot something about the milk snake, I can go down and I can say, okay, it's on page 4, and I can go find that information instead of having to go all the way through the book. So, it helps me find information throughout the book. In a book like this that only has 8 pages, it might not take you that long to find the information you want. But if you have a book that has like 50 pages or 100, that table of contents is really important because it's going to help us find information quickly. So today in our book, we're going to talk about these animals. On page 1, we're going to talk about the vampire bat. Page 2, the sand tiger shark. Page 3, the gharial. Page 4, the milk snake. Page 5, the yellow garden spider. Page 6, the rhinoceros beetle. Page 7, the manta ray. And page 8, the star-nosed mole. All right, so page 1, the vampire bat. And a lot of people mistake this bat and think things about it that aren't really true. So we're going to learn the true facts about the vampire bat. Between their name and the look of their faces, vampire bats can come off as completely creepy creatures. Turns out these bats have little to no interest in humans. They do drink the blood of goats, cattle, and some birds in order to survive, but they also have something about them that you might find endearing. Endearing means that you might like about them. They are the only bats that would adopt a baby bat if something happened to their mom. They take care of each other. This type of bat can be found in Mexico and Central America. So, even though people think and they're scared of the vampire bats, they really don't even care about humans. They really leave humans alone. The sand tiger shark. Look at those teeth. Sand tiger sharks are fascinating sharks. They are the only sharks that come up to the surface of the water to gulp air. So they actually have to come up and get air. They do not use the air to breathe, but they actually use it to help them float better and remain still while they are hunting for their prey. So they like to stay still instead of just going after prey. They look very intimidating with their sharp, jagged teeth and large size, but they are not aggressive towards humans unless humans bother them first. Sand tiger sharks are popular in aquariums, and in fact, if you go to the Oklahoma Aquarium in Jinx, you're going to see lots of sand tiger sharks in their shark case. The gharial. Gharials look exactly like their relatives. What animal do you think they're related to? That's right, the crocodiles, except for their thin, long snout. They are one of the biggest crocodilians, but spend the least amount of time on land. The gharial's jaws are so fragile that it could never harm a large animal, so it can't even catch those big animals. It mostly feeds on fish, frogs, and insects. The gharial is considered critically endangered. There are less than 200 of them left living in the waters of India. They have been overhunted for their skins. So people like to kill them for their skins. And so there's not very many of them left. So even though it looks as intimidating as a crocodile, it actually couldn't even really attack big animals because its jaw, since it's so thin, would actually get hurt. So it just eats frogs and insects and little fish. The milk snake. These harmless snakes are often mistaken for copperheads or coral snakes, but milk snakes actually make for great pets. A good rhyme to remember to figure out if the snake is dangerous goes like this. Red next to black is a friend of Jack. Red next to yellow will kill a fellow. They are non-venomous and have personalities that do well in captivity. They can be found in the wild all over North America except for the West Coast. Now, even though we say that these snakes aren't dangerous, like it does give you a rhyme to tell you if it's going to be dangerous or not, still, we want to make sure that if we see a snake like this, we stay away from it until we have an adult that can check too. because they do look very much like a coral snake, and a coral snake can be venomous and could hurt you. The yellow garden spider, and I have actually been really freaked out by these before. These creepy looking arachnids only grow to about 3 centimeters in size. They are orb spiders, which means they weave large circular webs to catch their prey in the middle. After mating with the female, the male dies, and many times she eats him. She will lay a large egg sac and will guard the baby spiders while they mature inside. If a yellow garden spider is ever aggressive towards humans, it is because she is protecting her babies. She will die before the spiders hatch in the spring, and when they will float off in the breeze to find their new homes. So really, they don't bother anybody. They're not poisonous, and they don't ever try to bite unless, like it said, she's trying to protect her babies. But they are very intimidating looking. The rhinoceros beetle. Would you expect the strongest animal in the world to be a beetle? The rhinoceros beetle can lift 850 times its own weight. So if you guys weigh 50 pounds, that means it could actually lift over 4,000 pounds. That's what you'd be able to. The male beetles have a horn on their head, which helps them to dig the dirt and attract a mate. The beetle is prey to many birds and snakes, so he adapts by being active mostly during the night. So what do we call those animals that actually come out at night? We call them nocturnal. Very good. He has an extremely tough exoskeleton. So they don't have a skeleton like we do on bones on the outside. Their skeleton is on the outside. It's a hard covering. So that's going to help defend him. Female rhinoceros beetles lay about 50 eggs, which will hatch after a couple of weeks. Deforestation is their biggest threat. So when they say deforestation, that means that people are cutting down the forest in which they live, and so they don't have anywhere to live. So even though he looks intimidating, he would only use his horns to help dig, or then maybe to fight other rhinoceros beetles that are trying to get into his territory. The manta ray. The largest of all the rays, the manta ray can grow up to 25 feet across. I think most people would be terrified if they were swimming in the ocean and this huge sea creature appeared near them. But there is no reason to worry. Unlike the stingray, the manta ray does not have a stinger. It is a filter feeder, which means it does not have teeth, and it eats crustaceans, plankton, and small fish. So it can't bite you because it doesn't have teeth and it doesn't have a stinger. But most of the times when people see them, they automatically think that it's a stingray, but it's much bigger than a stingray. Oh, look at this guy. It's the star-nosed mole. One of the weirdest looking animals on the planet. The star-nosed mole is completely blind, so he can't see. The tentacles on its face are extremely sensitive and allow it to detect its prey. Their diet consists of worms, fish, and small insects. They are excellent swimmers and can even smell underwater. They do this by inhaling bubbles and pick up scents and then inhaling the bubbles back into their mouth. So it's a very interesting creature because most animals can't smell underwater. But if you look at it, it looks intimidating because of its nose, but all it uses it for is to help find its prey. And it actually has what they call tentacles, which usually when you hear of tentacles, you think of an octopus. Very good. All right, so these were some of the creepy animals that a lot of times people think are monsters, but they aren't monsters. So what you're going to do now is you're going to connect to Seesaw, and I want you to talk about the animal that you thought was the scariest, but you learned it isn't. Or you can just tell me some interesting facts and tell me which animal you think was the most interesting. Which one did you learn the most about? All right, guys, thanks for listening. Bye.